Yes.
Roll call vote pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2, 3712, certifying that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements. In this chapter, two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion on which the closed meeting was convened, referred, discussed, considered in the meeting by the public body, and three, no action was taken in the closed meeting.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Good evening. I will now call the February the 11th, 2025 meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to the bylaws of the Cumberland County, Virginia Board of Supervisors to ensure a fair, orderly, and safe meeting. Exonerate from the bylaws pertaining to public conduct during the meeting has been posted outside for your review. Ms. Brent, please call roll.
Mr. Hamlin?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Ms. Tyree?
Here.
Mr. Stimson?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
If everyone will please stand and join us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we acknowledge your presence in this place. Beg for your mercy upon us, your grace. We thank you for everyone that's in attendance, Lord, and I just pray that we have a productive meeting as we discuss the business of Cumberland County and those who live here. Let us have a productive meeting, even though we're going to be discussing some things that might be uncomfortable. I pray that we remain calm and respect each other's humanity. For it's in Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now we will have county administrator comments.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, just one comment for you this evening and for the members of our public. I just wanted to take an opportunity to say thank you to Brian Saxton and to all of the public works staff who worked extremely hard over the last few days during the snowstorms, dealing with power outages, dealing with generators, pump stations, you name it. I feel like roofs coming off buildings, you name it, they've been dealing with it. They've been working around the clock to ensure that our infrastructure is secure and that we're able to meet the expectations of our residents. So I just want to say thank you to them. I think Brian's here. With that, those are all my comments for this evening. Thank you.
Do we have approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Mr. Hamlet?
No.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Simpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
At this time, we will have public comments, agenda items only. Only individuals who have signed up for the public comment period will be allowed to speak when called upon by the chairman. Members of the Board of Supervisors and county officials will not respond directly to questions asked during the public comment period. Instead, answers will be directed through the county administrator at a later date. Please provide correct information, contact information on the sign-up sheet to all proper response by the county administrator. The first two for public comments will be Ms. Betty Myers.
Good evening, my name is Betty Myers, I live at 577 Keystone Road, District 1. I'm here tonight to speak to you about your agenda item number 13A, courthouse renovation and addition process. I've done some research on this, and I'm very much concerned that it's going to take $37 million to change, to make this room safe enough to have people in it. And we've been using it for so long, I will agree that there's some additions needed and renovations needed, but $37 million worth, I don't think so. And whenever we ask who is going to pay for it, the immediate response is, we're going to put your taxes up. Well, I as a citizen, I should have some say in this, and right now I haven't had more than one can say that. I do not believe this county needs to go out and spend $37 million for a new courthouse. I have done some research, and I have it here. And that research tells me that there's only guidelines, there's very few actual policies and regulations to follow in ordinance. These guidelines also address that you need to look where this place is located. We can't compete financially with what is being done in Fairfax, Virginia. We're a small community. We have limited budget. And whatever you do, please don't depend on income from the landfill to finance this, because it's been almost 7 years, but we still haven't received any funds for it. Thank you.
Next, we have Bill Bruce.
Bill Bruce, 63 AG Lane. What can you get for $40 million? Get waterfront property in Miami, and state. Remember when they said the landfill was gonna pay for the school? Well, the landfill's not here, and we're paying for the school. And now you got 7 outstanding loans already. And now you're gonna do an addition, a courthouse build. It's just unbearable. Finish paying off some of this debt. The school, the Luther B. Jackson, there's $1 million USDA loan on that. Get it done. You want to put us in debt. I sat through the meeting. The gentleman said you're going to have to raise taxes. If you do this addition, you're going to have to raise taxes. Don't count on this landfill.
Next, we have Ron DeBrunier.
Ron Vernon, 51 Ruby Lane, District 2, Dublin. I'd like to say to you, thank you all for being here and for all the participation of our citizens, which is really nice to see. One of the items in the survey pertaining to the courthouse was concerning the growth. And taxes has always been a problem here in this county. A lot of people claim we have the highest taxes in the area, and this is just going to increase our taxes. This is not something we need to do. This is something that's going to hurt the county overall. The landfill is not going to bring the money you're expecting. Stop my time. I can talk louder. Hello. The previous board of supervisors put band-aids on the problem, like improving security and other things. And it's known that we have to upgrade. However, this guy's retired, the judge. We don't need to provide him a graded castle or a marble palace. We need to meet the minimum requirements of the law in the structure we build and keep it as feasibly economically as possible. This is going to be your legacy, the debt you make behind. Okay? That's not something we want. But our other legacy is going to be landfill. That can be used. No longer the previous board kept the ladies, John, it's all in your hands now. So I'll leave it at that.
Ms. Barbara Speeds.
Madam Chairman, if I may, I'm curious if there could be feedback from your microphone. It looks like Mr. Newman's microphone is on. I don't know if that's.
Hi, I'm Barbara Spees, 50 Hidden Lane, District 4. I'm hoping that I'll get a lot more information throughout this meeting. I'm still confused about where the process is at this point. I don't even know what the county's plan for Luther P. Jackson School is, but what I'm wondering, how can Cumberland County support or even consider supporting a $37 million courthouse complex? When did this happen? When did we get rich? Our citizens need so much in Cumberland County. And we're talking about a $37 million courthouse for staff, judges, clerks. I'm sorry, but that just can't be. I mean, when did we become rich? I thought Cumberland was a poor county. That's what everybody always tells me. Cumberland's a poor county with high taxes. So where is this money coming from? Is this money gonna come from? You think it's gonna come from Greenridge? Are they funding this courthouse somehow? So if it's not taxes, you know, some of us can barely survive right now. We are struggling. And to think that this county would even consider, I mean, we do need some renovations and some improvements. But just to make it to code, I mean, I understand we need space, but I can't comprehend, and I'm hoping that I'm just totally understanding what's going on here, and that this really isn't even being strongly considered. Because before I leave tonight, I want to hear, how did Cumberland County all of a sudden become a rich county? What happened? I missed it. I just missed it. How could we consider doing this? I mean, our citizens don't have anything. We're struggling. So hopefully I will get a lot of answers by the end of this meeting. Thank you.
Michael Engel.
Good evening, my name is Mike Engel with 1508 Anderson Highway, Cumberland, Penn. I've heard about this proposed courthouse renovation or replacement, whichever you want to refer to it as. And while some renovations may be necessary, I get that. I do have a problem with the budget, I mean, the cost perspective. It's a lot of money for this county, is, again, it's a poor county. What I did look at the information, it looked like our population has gone down compared to 2010. It's not expected to be back to the 2010 level before 2050. So I'm kind of struggling with why do we need a 40 million or 37 or $60 million addition to that. I have not seen anything that indicates maybe the elementary school that's been looked at. Can that be renovated? Can part of the administrative facilities of the courthouse be moved there? And the current building be modified to use as a replacement for an additional courthouse space? So I just haven't seen those options. I started looking around in the information last night. It's my fault for not doing it earlier, but I'm here. So thank you.
Lawanda Gregory.
Good evening, everyone, 91 Dearborn Lane. I just saw, I think it was a couple of days ago, was up on what's happening in Cumberland, and happened to see this, and it caught me by surprise. And I had no idea this was happening. And I can't even fathom this, that we are actually thinking about a $38 million courthouse. Yeah, it might need some, some upgrades, but as for doing that kind of money to this, very unnecessary. We have some other things that needs to be done in this county, and as some of the residents are saying, there are other things that needs to be done, that needs attention here in Cumberland, and our citizens, no, we can't afford that. A lot of us are struggling now, trying to maintain and stay afloat, and take care of our homes and do repairs to that. So how are we supposed to, take care of, of putting our tax dollars to a $38 million courthouse? That is unfathomable. So you all need to consider greatly what it is that needs to be done, and that should not be nowhere near the top of the list. I'm sorry, that should not even be considered. Yeah, do some renovations, I understand, but as for that price tag, no. We don't even have a grocery store. There are so many dollar stores here, and they're trying to, take care of everybody to make sure they're fed, and that's not even doing it. Because I know many times I've run in there and there's not even, milk to, buy. So we cannot fit that bill. We have to take that in consideration. You are citizens here, most of you, if not all of you, here in Cumberland. So think about that. You have to sleep at night. You have to sleep at night knowing that price tag. No one here in Cumberland is nowhere rich to fit that bill. So consider that, because not. Thank you.
Daniel.
My name is Daniel, Cumberland Road, District 3. First, I just want to state, good evening. Second is, this is insane. This is quite possibly the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I'm just gonna say it because I feel like everyone needs to hear it. You don't have this many people show up here because probably this many people don't like any of you sitting behind this desk. Because you don't do anything for the county. I can say that, and I've only been here for 3 years. And then I have an agenda item of a building that I don't know how much it is because I keep hearing 30-some million, 37 million, 40 million. I don't know. But I guarantee it's too much. And it's way too much to even consider and put on an agenda sheet. That was step number 1 of stupidity. I don't get it. I don't understand how people can sit behind desks and think that government does anything for people. I don't get it. And yet you bring a $40 million tax to the people and expect people to be okay with it. Really, everyone needs to go home and take a look in the mirror and say, am I really doing the job that I was hired to do by the people who can and should fire everyone and get new people? Because y'all do nothing good that I have seen in the 3 years that I've been here. And I am really being honest with you. Because I have people that will tell me, hey, I'll get back to you, and don't get back to me. I have people that say, hey, I'll look into this for you, and don't look into it for me. I have people that say, hey, as a lawyer, I'm telling you that they've been in business for so long breaking the law that it's okay, they can continue to do it. And this is from a county that I live in. Absolute stupidity. The dumbest thing that I've ever seen. And it's a shame. Everyone here should be ashamed that this is what you're dealing with. You should all be worried about your citizens, and you're worried about a dumb building in a building complex to further the government, not the benefit of this county at all. And I think I'm true in everything I said. Thank you.
That's all the public comment. Now we have state and local departments, agencies, community service providers report. First, we have Cumberland County Public Schools.
Good evening, Liz Jamerson here from Cumberland County Public Schools. I'm filling in for Dr. Chip Jones tonight, who couldn't be here. We have a lot of things going on at the school. A lot of athletic achievements have been going on. The CHS boys basketball team plays in the James River District Championship game tonight. That's where Dr. Jones is. He's been supporting the team all through the year, so we wanted to be there for tonight. The indoor track competed in regionals at Woodbury Forest on Monday. Cameron Brown, a senior, was named Region 1B Athlete of the Year. We had first place winners in the shot put, the pole vault, the 55-meter competition, and the triple jump. So quite an achievement there. We have 3 wrestlers who will go on to state competition on Friday. The regional basketball play begins Friday for the boys and Monday for the girls. And our middle school basketball teams competed in the middle regional tournament. So athletics is going well. We had a lot of celebrations and recognitions this past month. We celebrated Kindness Week, which is something I think we could all celebrate. We also had School Counselors Week. We honored the school crossing guards on School Crossing Guard Appreciation Day. We recognized CTE Month and School Board Appreciation Month. Ms. Jaleesa Johnson, the elementary school counselor, received a Difference Maker Award from the Virginia Department of Education. We hosted Senior Night for the Winter Athletics. We celebrated Go Red Day, and this year it was in support of Ms. Jasmine Jackson and the Women's Heart Health. And we also had, hard to believe, the 100th day of school festivities. So that mark of 100 days has already passed. We've had a lot going on with athletics and career readiness. Ms. Gillespie, who is the middle school Algebra 1 teacher, presented at the CERN Math Conference in William and Mary. CHS hosted Career Day. We had over 40 employers take place. That included Cumberland County, so we do thank you for participating in that. We even had some students who were given job offers on the spot, so that was nice. We had 2 Longwood business interns who have joined Mr. Dingledine, the technology director. So he finally has some help, some interns. Sophia Perez won the division's spelling bee, so she gets to go on to competition on the next level. Now the Cumberland Dukes drone team, they competed in their first ever tournament, the Battle of Peaks in Lynchburg. So that is a growing career field, so we're very happy that they're ready to compete. We had 6 students from the high school who competed in the Longwood Honors Band, which took a lot of effort on their part. We have some FFA and student leadership activities going on. FFA members visited the state capitol during the General Assembly session, and one of our students, Tucker Bowman, he represented Cumberland on the House floor, along with other FFA representatives from around the state. The students met with Senator Cyphers to discuss ag education bills, and they also connected with Delegate Garrett. School and community events are going on. We had the elementary STEM night, and it featured a 3rd grade musical performance. Cumberland County Public Schools was recognized during the Longwood basketball game, where the Teachers of the Year were recognized, the chorus performed, and the middle school basketball team was highlighted. And we do have some upcoming events we'd like you to be aware of. Preschool registration and screenings will be happening in March. Spring sports, again, hard to believe, they will start on Monday. And we're continuing preparations for hosting the RAM Clinic. And if you've heard about the RAM Clinic, we're incredibly excited about that. That will give the citizens of Cumberland County an opportunity to get some free medical assistance. So we're trying to promote that. And we do thank you for your continued support of Cumberland County Public Schools. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Next, we'll have VDOT.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, administration. Brian Hawker here with the Virginia Department of Transportation, here to give you a report for the past month, give or take. Quick update on the budget. We're roughly halfway through, give or take, which puts us in line roughly with the fiscal year. We're about halfway there as well. This next slide is, again, a graphical representation with the green line representing the expenditures, the orange line representing the spend plan. After the charges for the recent snow events end up hitting the budget, you're going to see those 2 lines merge, and then as we approach the end of the fiscal year in June, we are anticipating to be on target. This slide here is a representation of the work order summary. I've transitioned into basically taking a screenshot of our system as opposed to providing a line item of some of the high level stuff. So again, this is not atypical for not just Cumberland, but the other residencies throughout the the other area headquarters throughout the Richmond district. Again, as during the next month, you may see more drainage problems and more pothole issues as we get into. Nothing earth-shattering with these slides or these projects. Again, I will continue to put these on here. The plant and paving project and the surface treatment project coming up. The pre-construction date and construction starts still to be determined. Here's the proverbial meat and potato slide. Just a brief update on the event that we had the past couple days. Obviously, it was it turned into an ice event, a heavy rain event. We had multiple down trees. Cumberland County was one of the harder impacted counties within the Palmer residency. There's a lot of debris along the side of the road, that will be picked up in the coming weeks and months as we get contractors on board. We're rolling into the next storm event, this evening. I have to come in later tonight, and we're gonna have crews starting at 3 o'clock, so, any updates next month, we'll certainly provide. Mr. Stamey and I were talking about, upcoming secondary 6-year plans, around the corner. March or April, we're gonna ask to have a work session, which will, go through, if you all recall last year, a series of roads that could be available for paving. So we'll start that process. Route 60 sewer project, I got the plan review comments out today. Back to Brian and his team over there. I've got a copy of Mr. Stamey, I'll get that for your record. I also mentioned on the next 2 slides, there was a bridge rehab coming up with the detour. I shared with Mr. Stamey and Sheriff behind me. And we can let over here. Paving inquiries that have come up, Rains Tower Road, another one, Mr. Stamey and I advised that we are aware of the issues out there and they will be addressed in the coming spring. VDOT maintenance crews will actually be doing that with their crews. John Randolph Road, that's the previous plant mix contract that I spoke of. That road is actually on the contract, so that's going to be hit probably later in the spring, sometime in the summer. I'm not 100% sure, but that'll be a bill and bill project, so hopefully that'll be a long-term fix over there. Okay, I mentioned. I failed to put the bullet on there, but this is an update on the buggy signage. This snapshot here is on the bottom part of the screen. You're approaching from Farmville up towards Cumberland. We did place 2 signs out there. They were installed a couple weeks ago. They are static signs. There again, an update on the flashing signs. It continues at a research level. There's a statewide effort to see where these can be incorporated. Whether or not they come in Cumberland, I do not know. I'll certainly give you all updates as time progresses. What I do know is that the department had reached out to other states throughout the country, and I've gotten feedback. Ohio, Pennsylvania, with high populations of the Amish community, so we're tapping into some of the experiences that they had as well. So I'll continue to update you all as a board as I know information when it comes in. This is just the graphical of the detour that's coming up for the bridge replacement over on Lincolntown Road. Anticipated to start in early March and last through May. One item I did not add to the slide this month, and Mr. Stamey and I spoke about it, I forgot to put on there, was the Route 60 street speed transition. I don't know which one of the board members had inquired about that. When you're coming into the courthouse area, when it goes from 55 to 45 to 35, there was a question regarding placement of signs. I did not, forgive me, I did not have a definitive response to that. I'll look back at that in the next couple weeks and get back to Mr. Stamey. Snow and nights have thrown wrenches into my schedule, so I apologize for that, but we'll be sure to give Mr. Stamey a response. That is all I have for this month's report. Do you have any questions for me this time?
Yes, sir. Real quick question about the lane signs. Now, the area that we discussed months ago is a little bit bigger area. I know the 2 signs you put up, I saw them the other day coming through, concentrated where the 2 accidents were. But we are still looking at better signage throughout, right?
Yes, I will revisit that with Mr. Stamey. Him and I talked prior to the meeting, and we can now discuss that in detail. We will revisit that, with the challenge being exactly where they're located, and I think that's some of the issues we had. Mr. Stamey did provide me some information several weeks back, and I'll be revisiting that. Certainly reach out too, if you know definitive areas where you see a higher population, and again, that's where our challenges are. We can put counters out there and we can tell you how many vehicles cross the road at any given time, but we don't know how many police are out there. So,
My biggest concern was between like Holman Mill Road and 45, where we talked about Midway Grocery, down through Range Tavern Road, Plank Road, Pleasant Valley, that area. There's only 1 or 2, there's actually only 1 sign that I know of, and that's near WFLO on 45.
Yes.
As you're coming this direction, but there's a high concentration of I live in that area as well as other people. There's a high concentration. I want to make sure that we cover all the bases.
Okay. And just to, back to the sign coming into Cumberland County from Farmville, we do, I'm sure citizens have seen it, we do place them at the county limits. But what we're doing is, to your point, trying to isolate areas that we can design for. So we'll look for them. Any questions from you this time? Okay, thank you all. Have a good evening.
Next, we'll have the financial report.
Good evening, again, members of the board. On pages 1 through 10 of your board packet, you'll find the monthly budget report. This is for the month of January. This is for your information, but if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those for you. The first appropriation we have this evening comes from the Cumberland County Public Schools. You'll find that on page 11 of your board packet. The school has requested the board appropriate funds awarded to them in the amount of $30,000. The Students with Disability Literacy Network Grant is awarded by the U.S. Department of Education. The school board has approved this appropriation in their February meeting. It is my recommendation that the board does approve the appropriation request in the amount of $30,000 to Cumberland County Public Schools for purposes as outlined in that grant. This appropriation does not require any additional local funding.
Do we have a motion to approve the appropriation for the school system as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
The next item we have is an appropriation request for the Circuit Court Clerk's Office, and this is on page 15 of your board packet. She has requested that the board appropriate funds in the amount of $52,352. This was awarded by the Virginia Circuit Court Records Preservation Program through the Library of Virginia. These funds were received in January, and they will be used to professionally preserve the records located in the clerk's office. We are recommending that the board approve an appropriation for the circuit court clerk's budget in the amount of $52,352 and order us to use these funds as outlined in the grant requirement, and this also does not require any additional local funding.
Do we have a motion to approve the appropriation for the circuit court clerk as presented?
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Stimpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
The last item I have for this evening is an appropriation request from Dan Hurley, the coordinator of emergency services here in Cumberland. He has requested that the board approve funding for the second annual volunteer fire and EMS appreciation dinner. This will be held in March at Spruceberry Farm. The funding amount requested is not to exceed $2,000. As you know, you also were able to fund this for their last year's event. That was the first time we were able to do that as a whole. And again, this will be for fire and EMS volunteers.
Do we have a motion to approve the appropriation for the volunteer fire department as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Stimpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. At this time, we're going to have a planning and zoning report.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, real quickly, the item for planning and zoning is informational only. Ms. Johnson has been out of the office dealing with a family emergency. We're going to be sending that to the board under separate cover, and we'll be sure to add it to the packet and have it publicly available as well.
County attorney's report.
Madam Chairwoman, I have nothing to report this month.
Consent agenda, Mr. Stamen, can you please provide us an overview of our consent agenda?
Madam Chair, members of the board, you have two items for consideration under consent agenda. The first is the approval of bills. The second is the approval of your minutes from your January 14th, January 23rd, and February 4th meetings. These items can be found on pages 20 to 59 of your board packet. Be glad to take any questions.
Members of the board, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Stimpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Do we have any old business at this time that we need to discuss? If not, we're moving forward to new business.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Beasley and I are actually going to tag team this presentation for you this evening. And if it's okay with the board, I'd like to present from here so that I can make sure that I don't have my back to the audience. I think it's important that I'm speaking to everyone in the room as we discuss this item. So if that's okay, I can go ahead and present from here. That'd be great. First and foremost, I hope, in listening to the comments during public comment, I hope that this presentation provides some clarity on A, how we got here, and B, what type of decision is before the board this evening, and where we are in the actual process. I think it's going to help answer most of the questions that were brought to the dais this evening. So I want to be able to provide that information. At the end of the day, it's not to advocate, but Kemper and I's job is to equip the board with what we feel is the best information possible as part of this process. So with that, I'm going to dive right in and give you an overview of how we got here, because I think that's one of the questions that was asked this evening. How did we get to this point? So it's actually been an analysis and a process that's been ongoing, at least since I started here back in February of 2022. Back in March of 2022, March 25th to be exact, we did contact the Virginia Department of General Services to perform an analysis of the courthouse. And essentially what that does is there's a statute in place where we engage the Department of General Services through the state of Virginia. They come out and they do a walkthrough of the facility. They do an analysis of security. They do an analysis of access, ADA compliance, things of that nature. And they did conduct a site visit on April 20th of that year and ultimately provided an evaluation report to the county and to Public Works on April 26, 2022. From that point forward, we looked at that as we worked through our county CIP over the course of the next year. The circuit court judge requested a more thorough and detailed analysis on May 24th, 2023, after the most recent adoption of the board's capital improvement plan. Later on that year, the Board of Supervisors did authorize county administration on August 8th, 2023 to engage HBA architects to perform a more detailed courthouse assessment. So we have two assessments that we're really discussing. The initial assessment from General Services from the state, and then one from an architectural firm that was going to come in and meet with all of the stakeholders related to the courthouse. The assessment included comprehensive judicial services such as our circuit court clerk, our general district court, and our Commonwealth's attorney's offices and even more. The architectural firm did develop concepts to address the identified issues, and I'm going to share with you some of those issues now. Grab a drink of water. So the assessment that was completed included what's called a core score. So the architectural firm would come in and they would do a conditions analysis, a building system analysis, security, space functionality, space standards, and a technology breakdown. You can see that the overall core score is a 52.7. 0 to 59 indicates a poor score. We did score well on the building condition and the building systems. And I think that's a testament to our public works team for how much time and effort they put into maintaining the building that's 200 years old. You can see that security did score poorly, and that's not a reflection on our security efforts. It's primarily tied to the actual building infrastructure, not to our efforts from our sheriff's office who do a great job. You can see that space standards were scored extremely low, as did technology. This process took about a year to complete. So in October of 26, the board authorized the contract in August. We met for the first time, when I say we, myself, the stakeholders, all of the potential departments of the judiciary that would be impacted met to talk about the process and to kick off the meeting. And we kicked that off in October of 2023, October 26th to be exact. Over the course of a year, we met multiple times. A final report was issued to the county on October 17th of 2024. And again, that included evaluating our existing facilities, our security assessments, a program of requirements, evaluation of our present use of space, and then strategies aimed at improving that. And that's what they are, they're strategies. The report included 4 options for consideration, ranging from standalone buildings to renovating what we have, and the price range was between $37 to $54 million. So, ultimately, that's how we got here, okay? Option 1 was where the stakeholder group came together and said, okay, well, we've got to make a recommendation to the board for consideration, at least as a starting point. So 4 options were considered. So option 1 was where ultimately everyone landed, and it was the least expensive option. Again, the options were based upon the DGS and the HBA analysis. I mentioned the cost range. Again, they did include standalone structures. So if you look at the image that you have up top, I'm going to stand for a second so everyone can see. This is the existing courthouse, and this is the basement, so this is the bottom level. So anything from this line forward is actually where we are now. And then everything to the rear, as identified conceptually on this plan, is to the rear, okay? So I'm going to fast forward to the next slide. And essentially, we are sitting right here. This is us. So this conceptual plan would add an additional courtroom. Right now, we have 2 courtrooms. This would add a 3rd. It would also identify and alleviate a lot of the security issues. Right now, we have general public that can commingle with our judges, our circuit court clerk. We have our Commonwealth's attorney. Their office is right outside, right outside of where the Commonwealth's attorney's office is. A lot of times, there are prisoners walking by 30 feet from where the Commonwealth's attorney, the person who's going to be prosecuting them, works and comes in and out of the office. So a lot of this is designed to alleviate those issues. Here is the cost breakdown. And it is broken down in a per square foot cost. There's a renovation of the existing courthouse. That's a per square foot cost, and then a new courts addition, which is broken down in a square footage cost as well. Tacked on to professional services, which would include architecture and engineering fees, as well as other costs such as testing and permit fees. There is a 10% contingency that's built into the project for cost estimating purposes. You can see that $37 million number there. That's how we got here. I'm going to now let Mr. Beasley talk about the legal aspect of this.
In the judge's letter to the board dated February 3rd, 2025, which is in the packet, at the end he references, second last paragraph, he says, failure to act at the board meeting, at the next board meeting will be deemed a negative response. Judges Spencer and Duncan, chief judges of the General District and J&D Juvenile Domestic Relations Courts, join me in this view. We will pursue alternative means to achieve this goal if necessary. So the question is, what are alternative means? The assumption is judges referencing Virginia Code section 15.2-1643, in which a circuit court judge can issue what's called an order to show cause. In that order to show cause, by statute, is served on each supervisor. And essentially, that order says, show cause, tell me why the courthouse should be renovated or changed, or why, particularly why it should not be made more secure, or put in good repair, or rendered otherwise safe. And so that's the essence of that order to show cause. Now, once that order is filed, some things start taking place. At that point, the Attorney General's office will then represent the circuit court judge in this matter moving forward. The Chief Justice of the Virginia Supreme Court will then appoint a remote judge to oversee the order to show cause, and if it continues, the writ of mandamus that could, or mandamus hearing that could come about. So a new judge is put into place, and as Board of Supervisors, the board would have to answer, do these renovations have to take place? And then at that point, the judge, this remote judge would rule whether or not the process needs to take forward. It's interesting the way the statute is written. It actually changes the guidelines at that point regarding this remote judge and what the remote judge has to consider on the courthouse facility. There are 4 things specifically that this remote judge has to consider: security provisions, efficient layout, sufficient provision of office space and rooms. This is the summary. And then the 4th would be comfort, safety, and obsolescence, the age of the current building. Now, if the judge rules that this process needs to go forward, in other words, if the board says we don't need renovation, but the judge says you do, then at that point, in fact even before, the Board of Supervisors can appoint a 5-member panel to make recommendations regarding the courthouse.
Madam Chair, I've got a point of clarification. Mr. Beasley, can you let us know what you are referencing with the show cause ordered for the writ of mandamus? You just said sufficient and space standards. Is that coming from code, or is that coming from a separate guideline?
No, that's coming from code. It's, I believe it's paragraph C. If you go to 15.2, 1643, you have paragraph A that references the initial show cause and those 3 matters that the Board of Supervisors has to address. Then you go to, paragraph B. You'll see there that list the 4 matters that I spoke of: security, efficient layout, provisions for areas for judges' chambers, hearing rooms, conference rooms, prison holding areas, public information areas, and the 4th being comfort, safety, and obsolescence of the existing facility or any part thereof.
And that is within the code?
Yeah, it's 15.2, 1643, paragraph B. So this remote judge, let me back up. So the remote judge then decides if the courthouse is sufficient, the order is vacated. If this judge deems it is insufficient, it then issues a mandamus commanding the Board of Supervisors to make the courthouse sufficient. So mandamus is an order requiring the board to do a specific task. Now, if that were to take place, the locality does have the ability for statute to appeal to the Court of Appeals that decision by the circuit court judge. There was a language that was added in an amendment in 2012, which is paragraph E. It says, same code section, nothing in this section shall be construed to authorize the circuit court to require that an additional or replacement courthouse be constructed. Prior to 2012, that writ of mandamus could clearly say from the court, you've got to build a new courthouse. And so that language is there. Now, for the court's reference, I did find an order in it in 2020, so clearly after this amendment. The city of Petersburg had to build new district courts, J&D courts. In that agreed upon order, it references the amendment to the statute and says even though the court could not order a new courthouse, which Petersburg did apparently do for these district courts, as a compromise settlement because of what was essentially required by the court order, they did build a new courthouse. So at that point, it becomes the locality's decision if they build a new courthouse as a result of the requirements that are put on. Just other reference, local reference for the Board of Supervisors. Nottoway is going through a similar process as you're probably familiar. I've been in communication with their county attorney. The point they are now, the order of show cause has been filed by the circuit court judge. And order has been entered, I believe it was agreed upon the order, that the current courthouse is insufficient. And so then the next steps are moving forward for Nottoway. So that's a local thing.
Mr. Kemper?
Yes, sir.
Could you read, please, after the fourth requirement under paragraph B, could you read the third from last section, starting with the existing facilities?
Yes, existing facilities shall be considered in relationship to their location and the extent of their use. And that failure to meet any of these general conditions shall not necessarily be deemed a cause for determining them inadequate.
Thank
In
you.
making their recommendations, the panel may consult recognized national standard works. So,
Thanks.
The reference to those four sections, if you go back to paragraph B, the four that I just mentioned, it says in paragraph B, upon receipt of the notice, which the order of show cause, the Chief Justice shall assign a judge of the circuit court remote from the circuit where the repairs are alleged to be necessary to hear and determine whether, after consideration of such matters as set forth in subdivisions 1 through 4, the court facilities are in fact insecure, unprepared, or otherwise pose a danger to the health, welfare, safety of court employees or the public, and the extent to which repairs may be necessary.
Yeah, and another point of clarification, Mr. Beasley, you mentioned earlier inadequate. And I don't see that word in that paragraph.
You may be right, that may be the word.
Well, I am right. I know I'm right. I've done the research. Okay.
Thank you, Kemper. Now, as far as courthouse next steps, the board approval, what you have before you this evening is the board approval of the current process and the authorization to proceed. Just for clarification, the agenda item tonight does not award any contracts or appropriate any funding. It's just an authorization to proceed with the process of continuing to evaluate the courthouse needs. That would include the creation of a courthouse team that would be comprised of county staff. We would begin the process of developing requests for proposals for architecture and engineering services. Design could take 12 to 16 months to complete. And as part of that process, the design would be refined. The goal would be for the team to work together, to work collaboratively with our stakeholders to refine the project and to bring those cost estimates down. The goal of reducing costs associated with the project and refining the project scope. So right off the bat, when you look at the conceptual design, that's what it is. It's blocks on a page. So what's really the best answer? Once you get in there and start handling the design process, you can begin eliminating levels of square footage and really tailoring the design to what's going to meet the long-term needs of the county. But you have to have a starting point. As we move through that process could take 12 to 16 months to complete. During that time, we will refine our cost estimates and our approach. And we will focus as much as we can on borrowing scenarios that will have as little impact to the county as possible. We've already talked to our financial consultants. They've presented to the board. There are different scenarios that we can consider that may not impact the tax rate. A lot of it's how you borrow, when, timing, things of that nature. So these are all things that we have to consider if the board so chooses to continue with the process. The next slide is just a visual breakdown of the process of the proposed project work plan if we were to move forward. It's kind of tough to read, but to just show you the green blocks, that's the architecture and engineering phase of this. And where you see that blue star, we're probably 14 to 16 months from even having to figure out how to finance anything and having those cost estimates. So again, this is just a process, and that's what's before you this evening is the consideration of that process, how we got here, where we stand, and how we can potentially move forward. So with that, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Yes, I've got a question there. And I think it's important for those in attendance to know, do you reside in Cumberland County?
No, sir.
You do not.
Oh, excuse me.
I have questions to ask. Point of order.
That is
Point of order.
personnel.
The chair is out of order.
Personnel.
The chair is out of order.
That is personnel.
It is not personnel. We've got a room full of taxpayers, Madam
Okay.
Chair. They deserve to know who is pushing these issues.
He's not pushing the issues. He's bringing forth issues.
You may think that. You may have been sold a bill of goods, but I haven't bought it. I also have a question for our county attorney. Because Mr. Beasley, what is your day job?
Commonwealth Attorney for Buckingham County.
Commonwealth Attorney for Buckingham County, of which Judge Blessing is also the Circuit Court Judge of Buckingham County. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
So we have a motion to authorize the county staff to continue the Cumberland Courthouse renovation expansion project.
Are we gonna, Madam Chair, point of order, are we gonna have discussion? That was not a question, do we get to discuss this tonight?
Well, I asked, and nobody.
No, you didn't ask, you asked if we had any questions for,
Okay, so go right ahead.
are we gonna discuss this? I think
Sure, if you
the people
want.
in attendance deserve to hear their supervisor discussing an issue of this
Sure.
importance, this magnitude.
I just said, sure,
Thank
go
you.
right ahead.
Thank you. First off, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if this mic is working. I think we should probably divert some of that $38 million and invest $5 to $10 grand in microphones. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. Welcome to the show. This is the part of the show where you will see my colleagues roll their eyes. You will see them huff and puff because they're not going to like what I have to say. But please be mindful of this. Their disdain is not for me. Their disdain would be for you because my goal is to represent your voice from day one. That's what I swore to do. And by golly, that's what I'm going to continue to do. Because what good is an elected official that's a representative if they don't actually represent the people they serve? I want to take you down a little trip down memory lane. I want to tell you how we got to this code that Mr. Beasley referenced. Back in 2002, you can remember back that far, the code, which by the way has undergone a few changes over the years. And the reason for it is too many smaller localities were complaining to their elected officials, their delegates, their senators, that these judges are bankrupting us with these requirements, that we build these Taj Mahals for them when we can't afford it. So guess what? The General Assembly actually implemented some changes. So what I want to point out is I mentioned the word earlier because it was erroneously used in the statute. Insufficient. Back in 2002, the verbiage read, when it appears to the circuit court for any county or city from the report of persons appointed to examine the court facilities or otherwise that the court facilities of such county or city are insecure or out of repair or otherwise insufficient. Oh, guess what? 2002 we make a change because that word insufficient was allowing free rein for these judges to get whatever the heck they wanted in their courthouses. So that word was struck. What did the General Assembly put in? Instead of insufficient, they put in pose a danger to the health, welfare, and safety of court employees or the public. Okay? So there we got rid of the word insufficient. We put in a different clause that was more defined on what it is that you can point out as to why this courthouse needs to be upgraded or upgraded. This doesn't talk about replacement. Again, in section B, otherwise insufficient was struck, put in pose a danger to the health, welfare, and safety of court employees or the public, and the extent to which repairs, if any, are necessary. Now, also, I would like to point out that prior to this change in 2002, under section B, the second paragraph, it said the circuit court judge hearing the matter shall appoint a 5-member panel. Guess what? Again, we strike that. No, we're not going to let the circuit court judge hearing this matter dictate what happens. We're going to now put in local governing body. So they took it out of the judge's hands and they gave it back to your representatives, your elected officials, not an unelected judge. Okay? Shall appoint a 5-member panel, 3 of whom shall be qualified by training and experience as either an architect or professional engineer, not representing the same firms. So 3 different engineering or architectural firms, not a group from the same architectural firm, which is what the information we're going off of tonight involved. And then there's 2 members of the public at large. So actually, two members of the community actually get a say in this. And I pointed out earlier that that last paragraph, that even findings of the 4 issues that were mentioned to be basically needing repaired, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to act on it. It spells it out in the code. So we're going to fast forward to 2012, because prior to 2012, and thank you, Mr. Beasley, for mentioning paragraph E, for nothing in this section shall be construed to authorize the circuit court to require an additional or replacement courthouse be constructed. Now that word additional, okay? You look at this current courthouse where we have 14,000 square feet. We're talking about building a proposed 34,000 square feet, okay? More than twice the size of what we currently have existing. To me, that's not a repair. That's an additional courthouse. I don't care if it's attached to this one or not attached. Brings up another point. Why are we only looking at renovating this area and not looking at building a new courthouse somewhere? You know why? Because then it would have to require a vote of we the people. It would have to go to an actual vote of we the people. And guess what? Based on those in attendance tonight, I don't think that vote would pass. So this is the easiest way for them to get it. Sell us a bill of goods that the judge can force our hands, in which he can. And I reference the letter that the Honorable Don Blessing sent to us on February 3rd that Mr. Beasley referenced regarding courthouse addition. Not repairs, not even inadequacies that need addressing. Courthouse addition. All right, so now I want to address, sorry, I've got a lot of papers here. The findings of the architectural firm that we hired, we paid a lot of money for this, which, by the way, this was authorized by the previous Board of Supervisors. It was not authorized by your current board. We get these poor scores, okay? Very deceptive in the scoring, if you will. Because the scores that are poor, other than security, and that's one of the issues that the judge can address, is that the courthouse isn't secure. Well, what was the actual finding? What was the finding from that review of the architectural firm? Critical deficiencies observed in the courthouse complex include lack of a full-time security presence at the building entrances. How does a 34,000 square foot addition address lack of security at the building entrance? Full-time security. I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, is this courthouse open to the public full-time? So of course we don't have full-time security, we're not open full-time. Thank you. No vehicle sally port, okay? The judge does not have a secure way to pull into a garage, have it locked behind him so he can exit his vehicle or enter his vehicle to leave securely. Now, it's my understanding that our Sheriff's Department actually escorts the Honorable Judge Blessing to and from the courthouse. Much more security than you and I have. He's got a personal escort. You know what? That same judge, it's my understanding, there's signs out front of our admin building that say no weapons allowed. It's funny because that's not a state building. That should have been a county decision, but it's my understanding that the same judge that's concerned for his security entering and exiting this building is preventing you, the law-abiding citizens that may have a concealed weapons permit issued by the same circuit court that he presides over. You're not allowed to carry a weapon into that admin building because of the judge's orders. Furthermore, how secure are our schools? Do our schools Do our schools have metal detectors? We've got a metal detector here. No one can enter this building without going through. Is that the same for our schools? So here we are being told that the judge can force our hand, but we're acquiescing to the judge. We're caving to his demands, because this letter was a threatening letter. You threaten a lawsuit or legal action, that's not collaboration, that's a threat. It's also been brought to my attention that our county administrator had over, or at least 11 meetings with the judge last year discussing this courthouse. It came out in our workshop that we had regarding this matter, of which the presentation said your taxes will go up if we pass this courthouse. I don't know where that came from about, how can we make this happen without taxes going up? They will go up. We were told they would have to go up within 2 years. Have to go up. There were folks in this room that were in attendance at that meeting. They know exactly what was said and presented. And I find it disingenuine, dishonest to say otherwise. So, Madam Chair, I move that we table this issue until we can actually fully address the matter at hand and not just go off of some demand from a judge that either wants to extend his legacy or help put a notch on a resume for a county attorney for his next position. And I say that we table this matter indefinitely. I just did.
Come on, you work for the people.
Why is he the only one with that opinion?
You work for us. Keep that in mind.
At least Nottoway County stood up for their citizens.
Wow.
With that being
You guys
said,
power.
wow. With that being said, we're moving on. Is there a motion
That being said,
to authorize county staff to continue the Cumberland Courthouse renovation and expansion project as presented?
Well, you got it.
Table it. Table it.
Judge?
Look at us.
Yeah, look at
You
us.
work for us, not each other.
We have to pay our county taxes with credit cards.
You can't even look us in the eyes, can you? Look at us.
Table it or quit.
Yeah, you heard me. Look at us, who voted for you.
Here next year.
You hear what we want. You work for us. Look at your people.
Go with your gut.
Wow.
Okay.
You do the right thing.
I say, is there a motion?
Say it loud and proud if you're going to do it. Be proud about it.
I asked, do we have a motion to authorize county staff to continue the Cumberland Courthouse renovation and expansion project as presented? Do we have a motion?
Who's making the motion? So let's bench it and let the citizens speak next time.
Because we've heard no motion, I think we need to move on. I would say this matter is dead.
So moved.
That's to speak for
I asked for a motion. I asked for a motion.
I made the motion as she requested. So moved. We have a second.
I'll second.
Wow.
Wow. Hell no.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Wow.
Trash.
Yes.
Why aren't y'all listening to the citizens? That's what we're here for. Why aren't you hearing us? We don't want to spend $37 million.
Sir, we don't want to spend $37 million.
You are doing it immediately.
Hold on a second. This is just for us to move forward to see what all the Nothing has set in stone. That's not what we're doing here. We are not making a motion to approve a $37 million courthouse. That's not what we're doing here. We're just making a motion to give the team permission to proceed forward with getting all of the details and coming back with an exact amount. We're not approving the $37 million.
How much you gonna spend in this phase before you get to the final phase? How much more money are we gonna throw at this?
We still need renovations, even, this is part of the process. This courthouse has to be renovated one way or another. So it's not, this is not saying that we are in agreement of $37 million. We live in this county, we pay these taxes as well. Every last one of us that's sitting here on this board, we couldn't be elected if we didn't live in this county.
Be next time. That's right. Table it.
But they have made the motion, it has been made and probably second, to allow them to move forward.
You tried it out of it 4 tries.
Right.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to reconsider.
We've already been, motioned and seconded.
No doubt, I'll make a motion to reconsider the matter just approved. Some of us know.
Come on, Ms. Branch, please. Is your microphone on? No, it's on.
So what just happened?
Do we have public hearing? No public hearing, okay. So, we're moving on to additional information.
Any additional information for the board's consumption related to the treasurer's report, EMV report, et cetera, can be found on pages 181 to 190 of the report packet.
17, public comments. Do you have anyone?
She's good, she's good, she's good.
Only individuals who have signed up for the public comments period will be allowed to speak when called upon by the chairman. Members of the Board of Supervisors or county officials will not respond directly to questions asked during the public comment period. Instead, answers will be directed through the county administrator at a later date. Please provide contact information on the sign-up sheet to all proper response by the county administrator. Ms. Betty Myers.
My name is Betty Myers. My name is Betty Myers, and I live at 577 Deep Run Road. I think the meeting tonight is very unprofessional. We have, last month I was here, and there was extremely few people here represented. Tonight, there's people here. You're citizens of this county. And are you listening to them? No, you're not. You wonder why people in this county are so discombobulated. It's because you do not know what we want. You are here to serve us, but you really don't care. You would rather prefer to sit there and do what you think is best. Have you surveyed your people in your districts? Have you held district meetings? Do you know what we're talking about? I've heard people here this evening talking about how they're barely making it by. I'm among the fortunate ones, I'm able to do that. But do you care? Do you really care about us, we the people? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. You sit there and you think about what you want. If you really cared about what the people in your district want, you would be out there, you would have meetings with them, you would be listening to them. You talk about transparency. Why is this coming up tonight? You've been working on this since before this board came in. Why is it just now becoming to our attention? Mr. Stanton, there's a lot that you do in a month's time. We know what you do. It's required by the board to give us an update. I've worked with various associations where the president or the CEO of the company had to come out and give a summary of what he did in a month's time. These citizens need to know what's going on. We talked about a sewer line around 60. We don't know about that until it's brought up here in the meeting. We have to be depending on you to keep us updated. One final thing I have to say, I was driving down to Farmville the other day. I think it was about Thursday. And here comes Mr. Stampy across the road. He's been out here chasing power trucks to see when power would be connected up here and camp up here in Cumberland. I really appreciate that, Mr. Stampy. It shows that you have human nature to you. Not like some of the board members for doing it. Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Barbara Spees.
Barbara Spees, 50 Hidden Lane, District 4. This has been a disgrace. I don't know any other word for it. It's just been a disgrace. It kind of reminds me of 2018 when that board brought up the mega landfill. And I would like to piggyback on Ms. Myers. How many of you, or should I say, can you give me a figure, which I know you can't, of how many of your citizens in your districts have you gone to and sat down with and talked about this proposal? How many people in your individual districts have told you, push it through, get it done? I bet you haven't gone to many doors. You know, Cumberland is possibly getting a mega landfill and a $37 million courthouse complex. I mean, we need to figure out what is required of us to comply with the judge's recommendations. We comply with the recommendations and we don't do anything else because we can't afford it. I haven't heard that the judges are saying that they need $37 million worth of renovations. So what do they want? A secure office, a door that people can't just walk into the Commonwealth Attorney's office? I mean, what is needed? I mean, why didn't we use some of the money that Green Ridge gave, just throwing it out for 3 parks that I haven't seen many people use? That could have probably put some secure doors on the Commonwealth Attorney's office, or built a shed for the judge to park in, be escorted to come into the building. Maybe Green Ridge, if y'all pursue that more, maybe they'll donate y'all some land and you can build your circuit court building and courthouse complex at Green Ridge's facility. I have heard that it takes a lot less money to build a brand new building than to go and renovate an old building. So if Green Ridge and the mega landfill is a good idea for the county, then let the judges sit next to it.
Good evening, my name is Hannah Shadoy and I live at 52 Stone Point Road, District 3. My family moved to Cumberland around 1993. I have 2 children, their ages are 10 and 12. They both attend Cumberland Elementary School and actively participate in school and recreational sports. I'm going to read to you Cumberland's vision statement from the Cumberland website. The vision statement is as follows. to ensure the safety, opportunity, and prosperity for all residents while respecting and preserving the rural, historical, and agricultural heritage of Cumberland County. This proposal for the new courthouse building contradicts Cumberland's own vision statement. Per the comprehensive plan that is on the Cumberland County website, the median income for Cumberland residents is $57,586 annually, with 40% of the household earnings between $35,000 to $75,000 annually. The statewide median annual income for Virginia is almost $81,000. This leaves the highest median income of Cumberland residents $6,000 less than the state average, and the lowest median income of Cumberland County residents is $46,000 less than the state average median income. Cumberland also has a poverty rate of 7.1%. I also had a hard time finding the salaries of Cumberland County employees, so I retrieved my information from Gov salaries. I would love to obtain actual dollar amounts. Rough calculations from GovGat salaries: county administrator over $157,000, clerk of the court over $121,000, commissioner of revenue over $92,000, with lower level county employees making substantially less than these figures. 68.3% of Cumberland residents work outside of the county. This proposed courthouse does nothing to ensure the opportunity or prosperity for the residents of Cumberland. There was a statement made on Facebook today by a spouse of one of these county employees. It says, quote unquote, there are plenty of reasons to upgrade. Number one, my wife's safety. What a privileged comment to make. My children's safety is not even taken into consideration. To give you the proper definition from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, privileged, that is to accord a higher value or superior imposition. Cumberland children have to play sports in a stinky, mold-smelling gym, but their safety isn't important. Have we conducted a safety analysis on our schools? This just confirms how out of touch this proposal is. The ball fields, they're not ADA compliant. They are not wheelchair accessible. In fact, if you have a wheelchair, you can't watch games. Ask my daughter. Her great-grandfather, before he passed away, couldn't even come see her games because she can't get a wheelchair because there's no pavement. The ball fields are under lock and key. There's no basketball courts. We're getting a grocery store where in the old Marion's by right, that building stinks too. Oh, and you guys built playgrounds, but they're right next to the landfill, so they're a world country. This particular individual also said that, quote unquote, this board of supervisors has to do something. They can't just stomp their feet and rally all y'all around them to picket the streets. That's not reasonable. Picket the streets? Are you suggesting we're throwing tantrums? I guess I'm not going to get through the whole thing, but to close, I did want to say that former President Ronald Reagan did say, we can say that the government spend like drunken sailors, but that would be unfair to the drunken sailors because the sailors are spending their own money.
I'm Joseph Bowles. I live at 191 White Road in Columbia, Virginia. I'm a local business owner and a volunteer fire department member from my county. Hearing the statements here tonight has really got me down because I feel like we've lost our fight. I feel like we're just rolling over and letting our belly get rolled for somebody that doesn't pay what our county consumes. As a business owner, it's already hard enough for me to stay in business, to keep my prices low, and to make it affordable for people that I work around, for me to do work for. I hear about security risks. How about the security risk of people like me and police officers in our community that work for our money every day? I work as doing timber work, tree work. I risk my life every day to earn a paycheck. The police officers here and other members here risk their lives daily to earn a paycheck. So when the judge signs up to be a judge or different members here sign up to do things, there's risk in these jobs that they sign up for and get paid very well for. There's different risks in everything. You know, maybe we should do some fundraising like they tell our local fire departments to do to earn money for the apparatuses that we need that we don't have, or the gear that we don't have. How about our teachers that teach every day? My wife is one of them at Cumberland Middle School. Teaches every day for a salary that is well below the average salary of a Cumberland County resident. and not to mention the respect that is not earned or given to the teachers in our community. 3 courtrooms, why? I've been a local frequent flyer in this courtroom back in my younger days, and I've never seen it to capacity to where we needed a 3rd courtroom. There's never been a reason for that. So why are we wasting taxpayers' money on these things when we got an elementary school that is about to be overfull? We can't find parking spots for parents when we have events there. We got to park all around and walk hundreds of yards just to get to the front doors of the school. We need to be thinking ahead for our future. Yes, we're going to have to pay this money back. We might not have to pay as much of it back as Mr. Stanley says earlier. I don't know that, and neither does anybody here. But we need to be thinking for our future, because our kids are our future down at that school. You know, have these judges pay for it if they want it so bad. Today I heard somebody that doesn't even live in our county say, and I overheard them say this, Cumberland County is an example of how a county should not be run.
Yep.
And that came, I'm not dogging y'all, but we need to fight. Do not authorize this. Fight to the end. Yeah, we might have an order to do it, but fight tooth and nail until they make you. We need to start somewhere, and tonight's a start.
Daniel?
Man, I'm thankful I signed up twice, because y'all are ridiculous. Y'all are quite possibly the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. It is unbelievable. First of all, I just want to thank you for actually standing up for the citizens. I've been dealing with, since I moved to this county, the stupidity of the people that sit behind these desks. Every single one of you who don't fight for people. To the point that I had the attorney tell me, well, somebody's been breaking the law for so long that the judge is probably just going to say they're going to go ahead and be able to do it. 10 years now. Something that I've been fighting, citizens, something that I've been fighting every time I come to this stupid charade, every time I come to the planning commission charade, I deal with the same thing, to the point that the sheriff says, I don't know who to give the ticket to the point that the Cumberland County Board of Supervisors says we can't do anything about it. I showed the issue that I have been bringing to this county for the last 3 years, how it's illegal. Because they shoved stupid paperwork in my face, so I decided to be the person that I needed to be, and I found out what the paperwork said. I came and found out that everything that the building is doing that I'm complaining about is illegal. And guess who doesn't do anything about it? The people who just sat here and looked you in the face and said, we heard you say no, but we're going to do it anyway. I thought I was being rude the first time I got up here. Obviously, I was not rude enough. Y'all are worthless. Every one of you except for you. Thank you. I feel like I should spend the next minute just up here screaming and yelling because this is insane to me. You sit there behind that desk and you say, well, this isn't to say that we're going to spend the $37 million. Do you think we are stupid? You have to think we're dumb if you're going to say something as dumb as that. And then not expect anybody to get up. I bet everybody here probably wishes they would sign that paperwork at this point. And we would have been here until 12 midnight. Good Lord, this is insane. Y'all need Jesus. And you need some common sense. Because none of you have any. You have no common sense. You have no decency. You have no caring about your district that you work in. I've never heard from you since I've been here. Since I have been here, I have never heard from you. You don't even know where I live. I've come here and I've complained about a building. I don't know how many times. You say, oh, email me, whatever, and you got back to me 2 months after I moved here. 5 seconds. I'm going to say that all of y'all are worthless. Pointless. Thank you.
Board
I'll go since they don't want to say anything. First off, thank you for being here, each and every one of you. I will say it until I'm blue in the face. This is your meeting, or at least it's supposed to be your meeting. My way of doing business is every day when I decide how I'm going to vote on something, I listen to the people, not just my district, but the people of this county. And it's funny because I say that because I have folks from all over this county that reach out to me. I have folks that reach out to me, and guess what? I answer each email, I answer each phone call, I answer each person on the street. And when they bring concerns to me, I ask them, why didn't you talk to your supervisor? Well, because so-and-so told me if they wanted to be taken seriously, I should come to you. That's a shame. That's a shame. That I am on this board, and it sickens me to sit here on this board because of the disdain that my colleagues have for we the people. Thank you for coming. This is supposed to be your meeting. We're supposed to be conducting the business of you, the residents of Cumberland County, and listening to your voice and doing our best to represent. So thank you for your comments. I don't do this because I want to do this. I do this because I feel like I need to. God bless you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say, regardless of people not understanding us sitting in their seat, feel like we're inadequate, or we're stupid, or whatever the case may be, you are entitled to feel that way. And it's okay. But I can assure you, and I can only speak for myself, that when people come and they speak at their podium, I want them to bring facts. Don't come with a pony show to get the people around. Hold up, I'm speaking now. I showed you respect, now show me respect. I just ask that people treat us with respect and dignity, regardless of the decisions that we have to make. And when, it's not easy sitting up here. And do you think we just want to be oppositional to be oppositional? Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, because that is not the case. I'm a native of this county, been here my entire life. Grew up with a family on a farm, so I know what it means to be poor. I know what it means to struggle. I know what it means to work 3 jobs. I commute over an hour and 15 minutes each way to teach in another district. So I know what it means. I know how it feels. And to sit here and have people to disrespect us because we're trying to do what's best, even though everybody might not agree with it, that's so unfair to us. And you said we're not Christian? Well, the word tells us to treat people the way we want to be treated. So getting up here being rude and disrespectful to us is not treating people the way you want to be treated. So I just ask, if you're going to come with concerns, do it in a dignified way. Respect us, because we are human and we do have feelings. So if you were sitting here, you would want people to do this to you. So treat us the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, we do. We want you to listen to you.
We are listening to you, ma'am, and this was just a preliminary to move forward with getting the information that is needed. Once again, nothing is set in stone. But regardless of what we say, you still want to interpret things the way you would like, what you are entitled to. And I'm going to leave it at that for tonight. But I just ask from now on that you all be respectful to us. Have a good night. Meeting adjourned.
That's not how it works, Madam Chair, but I've got a point of personal privilege. I'd like to say respect is earned. It's not given because of a position.
Thank you.